Welcome to Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your Make a Bicey casual gamer.
I'm Stacey, I'm your non-gamer gamer.
And I just realized I moved the computer and did not check the screen. So there we go. That's a little better. I had put it up on something so that so that the airflow was better underneath it and it didn't get too warm. We are here this week with our 5 and dime for that says 2019. I'm gonna take that off of there. Okay. That should say 2020. There we go. We're gonna take that off of there. Okay. Yeah, that should say 2020. I thought I fixed that, but I guess I did not. So we're here with our 5 and 9 for our 2020 game recommendations. As we are working through our yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week. Is this got some weird light coming in from the window? I don't know. Anyway, as we are working through our yearly recommendations. So what I had done earlier this year was I'd gone through and I had kind of listed the number of games from each year, and I'm like, oh, this year's got a decent amount of games, which should be pretty easy. We found that not to be the case earlier in the week as we were making our lists, and it ended up because what happened is we ended up looking at the list and going, oh, there's some games that I play solo that didn't really work for me, so I didn't want to put them on a recommendation for me. Some of them are games that are ranked much higher than a lot of the games on my list, but they just didn't work for me. Others are first editions of games that we've gotten, like the second edition or third edition, and we like that more, so it did not make sense to us to recommend the first edition of a game if we would prefer to recommend the second edition. And some others were just some kind of silly games that Hasbro a few years ago brought out a bunch of games that combined a bunch of those classic kids games that we grew up playing, and those were on the list. So we're like, oh, all of a sudden our list kind of dwindled down, but we did come up with enough recommendations for this list, and we cleared off several more games off of our shelf of opportunity recently because as we've been doing this, we've been trying to clear off so we have played all of our games. So we're going to jump into it. As always, I have mine in order of ranking from the lowest rated on or lowest ranked on BGA to the highest ranked.
And mine are alphabetical.
Yes. So anyway, my first one. If you like a set collection game and you like Disney, I think you're gonna actually like this one. This one is a lighter game, and this one is called Disney's Haunted Mansion by Funko Games. Um, in Disney's Haunted Mansion, you are moving around the endless hallway there in the middle. And what you are doing is you're moving around this to collect ghosts. The ghosts set collection, each one has a different thing that they are doing. Some of them, if you have a full set of the 4 different types, you get a certain number of points. Some of them, the more you have, the higher points you get. Some of them score just for pairs. So all of the 11 types of ghosts score different ways. And then there are some special ghosts that score some different ways. So what you're doing is on your turn, or at the beginning of the round, you flip over the top action card. You move the hitchhiking ghosts around the board. If you are in the room, and by in the room we mean in the section of the wheel there that you can kind of see in the middle of the hallway, that you are considered in the room. If the hitchhiking ghost moves through your room, you have to take a haunt card. Those are 0 to 3 points. If the hitchhiking ghost ends up on the room you're on, then you have to take 2 of those haunt cards. And what you're trying to do, like I said, you are trying to move. You have 3 actions. You can spin the entire hallway to where you want to go. You can collect haunts, or you can collect ghosts, or you can move 1 space. And what you're doing is you're trying to set, collect, and have the most points at the end of the game. Now, whoever has the most haunt points at the end of the game does have to discard their highest scoring set of ghosts. This did not come into play when we played because we both tried to make sure that we got rid of them, because one of your actions is to get rid of haunt cards. And also you can move into the middle seance room with Madame Leon, I believe it is, and she can and you can discard haunts there as well. This is a really fun, lighter game. I think it's good for families. It's a good set collection game. There are a lot of different ghosts. When you flip over the card and you move the hitchhiking ghost, wherever they stop, you put 2 ghosts in that room, and then you put 3. You put a number of ghosts equal to the number of players plus 1. So we put 3 extra ghosts in the room, and then at some point in the final 4 cards, there's a finish card, and that's the end of it, and that's the last round. So that is Haunted Mansion by Funko Games, Disney's Haunted Mansion, and that was a lot of fun.
I like that one.
It was a nice one. My next one is a game. If you just like some silly kind of party game with some drawing, this one I have at my board game club at school, and this one is Monstrosity by Deepwater Games, and I have 2 of the expansions. There are tons and tons of expansions for this, and I think they just released like 6 or 7 more this year. In Monstrosity, you are basically trying to describe a monster that has committed a crime. You are working for DRAW, which is the Department of something. I can't read the top of that. Something anomaly something. And what you're doing is someone is looking at this card for, I think it's like 30. I think the way you're really supposed to play is you look at it for like 30 seconds or whatever, like you have seen this monster commit a crime, and then you are describing it to the artist. Everybody else is drawing it based on your memory and your description, and then what happens is you flip them all over and everybody votes on which one they think is the best, and whoever wins the vote gets a point. You keep on doing this. You rotate who the person looking at the cards is and explaining it, and then it kind of goes around, so everybody gets a chance to explain, everybody gets a chance to draw several times. Now, at my board game club at school, we do not play that way. We let the kids just sit and describe it because it's just a fun kind of silly game to play with them. So we just sit and describe it because honestly, even when we played it, like looking at it for like 30 seconds and then trying to describe it, you're like, I don't remember anything because these monsters are quite elaborate. And so this one is a really fun one. It gets lots of laughs when you're playing it. And if you just want something silly that you really don't have to take too seriously, yeah, you can score points. But really, it's just a nice, fun party game. Can play a lot of people. If you have more than one set, you have more boards, so you can play a ton of people with this one. That is Monstrosity.
I like that game.
It's
That's
a
fun.
it's a lot of fun. It's very silly.
You don't have to be an artist to draw that one because you don't know what you're drawing. You're just,
Yeah,
as they're telling you, they have two arms, one's coming out of his neck and the
yeah,
other, and you're just you're just
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
okay, doing your best. So my first game that I'm going to recommend from 2020 is Calico. I Calico is by Flat Out Games slash AEG, and this is from 2020. And in Calico, your players are trying to make their own personal quilts, and they're trying to make it as cozy and snuggly as they possibly can um, for cats. You're trying to attract the most cats to your quilt. You are collecting patches, and you are each of the patches. There's a few different shapes, colors of patches that you're trying to put on your quilt, and you each quilt has a particular pattern that you must follow. So you set down your patterns that you have to follow on your quilt first, and then you try to get the patches by drawing them out of the middle section there and putting them into your hand, and then you put them from your hand one at a time into your quilt. And you get points for the color combinations if you get the shapes and the colors, or oh, you get bonus points if you have a line of colors or a line of shapes. This is just a lot of fun. You get, when you do get a certain pattern, you attract a cat, and then you get to put that cat onto your uh, quilt, and then you get bonus points for that. And then when you have a color that you also get to get a button that you get to put on your quilt, and then those are bonus points at the end of the game as well. So, Calico, fun game. It's kind of a thinky game for me because you have to try and plan ahead. You have to
Yeah.
draw from the bag, put it in the stack, and then, or no, you play your hand first, and then when you play your one tile out, then you draw and you replace the one that you took. Fun game. I like it. It's fun. I like the cats.
Yeah.
I wish I had a cat.
Yeah.
But I
This
don't.
this is a good one. This one, like they said, Flat Out Games, AEG, the whole Calico, Cascadia, all those sort of games. This one is the kind of crunchier one because you're a little more constricted with it.
Oh, is that what crunchier means?
Well, it just means it's a little tighter and stuff, a little harder because you got to think a little more because you don't have this wide open space to move into.
Yeah.
You're in this one small little
So
area.
on your board you have the three different limitations that you have on your quilt, and you have to get this one sometimes up here to match what this one does, and this one has to match what this one is, so you have to plan
Yeah,
ahead.
you have some other
Ooh.
scoring things that you can do other than just the colors and the
Yes.
patterns. And you're like, okay, well, I want to get this many around this, and can I get both of the things because you get more points? But that is a good one.
Thank you.
All right, my next one is one that I played only on BGA and really liked it and bought it, and then it sat for a while, and we finally got it to the table earlier this week. And this is another tile game, and this one is called Shifting Stones by Game Right Games. In Shifting Stones, you have 9 two-sided stone tiles, basically is what they're representing, that represent different things. So you have like a sun and a moon, you have a fish and something else, you have a horse and something else. And what you are doing is these 9 tiles are placed out at random in a 3x3 grid. And so you can see in the middle of the picture there's a card that shows what colors on the opposite side. So yellow and black, orange and red, purple and blue, and then the white and green. And then over on the right, you have um, different patterns you are trying to make. And that seems like a lot of patterns that they made. Maybe that's the solo game that they were playing. But what you do is you start the game with 5 cards, and you can use them either to make a pattern, or you can use them to move the stones. So you can switch 2 stones that are adjacent to each other. You could flip a stone over. So you have to be like moving stones, shifting stones, and flipping stones and doing all sorts of things so you can make your patterns. But when you're playing more than one person, the other person is also doing the same thing. Sometimes you get lucky, you draw some cards, because you can also pass on your turn. You can't do it 2 rounds in a row or 2 turns in a row, but you can pass on your turn to grab more cards because that gives you a little more ability to do things. Sorry. And so what happens is you can take as many actions as you want on your turn. It's not a limited number of actions. It is however many actions you want to take. So if you pass on your turn, you take 2 more cards. You might have 7 cards in your hand, which gives you a lot more actions. Or is it 6? Maybe you start with 4 and you can drop to 6.
Drop to 6.
You start with 4 and you drop to 6. So you might have 6. So that allows you to do a lot more things because, like, I need to move a lot of stuff. I need some cards, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of things. This is a really fun game. It plays pretty quick. In a 2-player game, you play until someone gets 10 patterns, and then you just see who has the highest score. So that is Shifting Stones. My next one is another tile-esque sort of game. This one comes to us from one of our favorite board game companies, Kids Table Board Gaming, and this is Fossilis. In Fossilis, you are archaeologists that are going on a dig into this really cool dig site in the middle. What you have is you have 3 different colored tiles, and you put them in a certain pattern. You've put the whole level down, and then you put a certain number on top, and you can shift them, you can move them different ways, but you can only move by pushing them, but you can only push certain ones into other ones. So like you can't push sand into clay or stone, and you can't push clay into stone. And then you are trying to collect dinosaur bones to make dinosaur fossils, and you are also getting some other little actions and some other bonuses in this one. You're trying to you can get some little abilities or things that help you, or maybe they give you some extra action turns and stuff. This is a really fun one. This is very interesting. This is a one that is very unique. We need to get this one back to the table because it seems like every time we've got it out, we've been really tired. And it just we enjoy it, but we need to get it when we're not so tired. But yeah, it's just this whole idea of pushing these tiles so that they fall off and you get those resources. And then what eventually happens, you can't see it on this picture, but what eventually happens is there are holes underneath these tiles, and there are different fossils that you randomly place in, and you shake the lid up, and then you take the cover out, or you take the thing out so you can't see it, and then you so that you aren't seeing what all of the different where everything ended up, and then you slide a thing in to put the tiles on, and you slide that out, and then you spin it so you don't know where any of the fossils are. Some of the fossils, uh, when you score them, are better scoring. Some of them give you some other little abilities, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's just a very interesting game.
And there's tools that
there's tools. You have to actually take the fossils out, and you can only take 1 fossil at a time, even if there's 5 fossils in there. And you have to say what they are, and you have to have a certain number of action points, I think it was, in order to get those. So yeah, this is Fossils. Just a very unique game with the sliding and having to like, and then you're revealing the holes where the fossils are, and then you're using your tweezers to dig in there and get them. So that is Fossilis by Kids Table Board Gaming.
And my next one is Gnoming Around by Grandpa Beck. And in Gnoming Around, it's basically you're playing a round of mini golf, I would say, golf or mini golf. And it's a set collection game where you are doing your best to get the lowest score, just like in a round of golf. And over the course of 3 rounds, correcting. You are collecting and arranging the cards in a 3x3 grid like you see there. Your score has to be as low as possible, and you can even earn negative points. So if you have where that 3 is, if you have a 3 in a row, that equals negative points because you have all the same numbers. If you have them in a row or a column of the same number, you can do it in both if you want to, and then that's extra negative numbers. And as soon as, so then you draw from the stack, and you look at your card, and then you can replace a face down one, or you can replace a face up one. You can discard, or you can take from the discard pile as well. So you want to keep an eye on what your other players are doing to see what numbers they're getting in their stacks, so that you can try and see what they might be discarding. It might end up coming back to you. But once all the cards are face up, then I think everybody gets another turn.
It's the last. So when the last person flips their last card up, um, I think everybody gets to finish that round. But then any cards that were face down just get flipped up, and you can't do anything with them.
Yeah. So as when one player has no face down cards in the grid, then everybody takes their final turn and the round is over. And then you get to see which gnome has won the game.
Did you talk about the bouncing?
Oh, and you can bounce as well. Oh my goodness, how could I forget about? We always forget about bouncing.
Yeah.
So bouncing, if you draw a card and you flip a card in your grid that are the same number.
No, so if you flip a card over and you already have that number in your grid somewhere, you get to bounce it somewhere else. And this can be very beneficial because if you can get a couple cards that are bounced, all of a sudden you may have turned over 3 cards on a turn, and the other person is still only got 2 cards total, and you may get to end the game or the round a little bit quicker, because then they don't have a chance to get all their cards over. So if you can bounce, it really does benefit you quite a bit.
Yes.
But that is totally random because you don't know what cards are there. So if you get lucky and you get to bounce, it's usually a good thing for you.
I don't normally pay attention to what well, I mean, I do pay attention to what I'm getting rid of, but I don't pay attention to what other people need. So if I lay down a discard of 3 and Ian's already got some stuff, he can watch and he'll take it. He'll bounce all the way through and voice me.
Yeah, that's a good one. We really like that one. All right. My next one comes to us from a company that has quite a few games, and this is definitely by far our favorite one in this. We've played 4 of them now, and this is Here to Slay by Unstable Games. Unstable Games kind of work for us. They're fine. They're okay. This game, though, feels more like a game. In Here to Slay, you are starting with, you have basically a leader hero, which is a full colored card in front of you, and they have some abilities. On your turn, you are doing several different actions, including drawing cards. You have a hand of cards in your hand. You can play cards in your hand, other heroes. The heroes will give you some other abilities, and then you can attack these monsters up front. So you can see there's 3 monsters near the top, and what happens is you need to have certain heroes that are certain types of heroes in order to attack them. And then you're going to roll the dice. When you roll a dice, if you score higher, you win. If you score lower than the lowest number, you lose a hero. Some of them, there's a space in between as well. You can also take cards from the other person. You can play some bonus cards that allow you to steal from the other person. And then you each roll a dice. Whoever rolls the higher number wins. I feel like this one is a more gamery game, simply because you are also attacking these monsters, and you're not just going head to head. I don't know. We played this one last week, and it was a lot of fun. It is the highest rated unstable game that we have, and it is definitely by far our favorite one. Just the abilities that you can use so you can also arm or equip your heroes with some different cards that will allow them to get some other abilities. When you are taking your actions, one of your actions can be using your hero's ability, so it might allow you to draw extra cards or do some extra things. Add 1 to a dice roll. So yeah, that is Here to Slay by Unstable Games, and that one was a lot of fun. I really like that one. The next one comes to us from Arcane Wonders. Well, not originally, but the more recent version was brought to the US by Arcane Wonders, and this is Comic Hunters. This one kind of has a sweet spot with me because in the 90s and then when the Marvel Cinematic Universe came out again, big comic book collector. And in Comic Hunters, you are searching for comics over three different eras. I think it's like the golden era, the silver era, and the modern era. And there's three different decks of cards. And you're doing this over 4 rounds, and each round you are going to 2 different places. So in the comic shop, you are getting more modern comics. And when you go there, I played this one solo. So when you go there, what you do is you draw 3 comic cards, you take 2 into your hand, and you give 1 to the AI. Jarvis you're playing against. And you do that twice. So you're going to end up with 4 cards. Jarvis is going to end up with 2. You will have to pay for your cards later. Then when you go to the, I'm trying to think of what it was called. There's a convention, there's online, and then what's the other one? The one set up is the convention. So it's like a convention hall. You have all these cards around, and this is for solo. So you set up a 5x5 grid where you only have the outside, and then you have one in the middle. And what you do is on your turn, and you're going to do this 2 times, you are going to slide 1 card into a row or column. And then you get to say which hero you want, and then that hero, you get all the comics that have that hero on it. And then you're going to do the same thing and discard some heroes, and then you're going to do it again. And so you're going to end up with however many comics you can get, and then Jarvis is going to end up with whatever is left over after you've taken and you've discarded. And then in one of the ones you set up a 2 rows, 1 of 4 and 1 of 3. If you take the row of 4, you have to spend 5 of your like extra money. I can't remember exactly what it was called. Your hidden money or whatever it is, which is on that blue kind of ticket track there. But if you take the row that only has 3, you only have to spend 1, which is good because it's money at the end of the game. And then on the bottom of the main board, you have 3 different things you're looking for. So you might be looking for #1 comics. You might be looking for rare comics. You might be looking for I think one of them was like artwork. So there's 6 different things that you might put in there. And then in a solo game, you play with 6 of the comic types or comic heroes. You keep 2 of them out, and you randomly place them in the board in the upper right. So you can see like if you have a certain number of them, how many points they're worth. So the one where there's only 1, that one you get more points for because it's the only one scoring that one. And then at the end of the game, at the end of each round, you actually have to pay for your cards with other cards. So you have to pay for your comics with other comics. And when you do that, you're like, okay, this one's a 2 and a 1. Okay, so I can use a 3 to use that. And then you might get some things and move along the tracks on the bottom. Jarvis also moves along those. You go over 3 rounds. Each round you do 3 rounds? 4 rounds. God, I can't think. It's been a very long 3 rounds, and you go to 2 places each round. So 1 round you go to like the first 2, and then you go second, third, then the third and fourth. Yeah, so this one's a big nostalgia one for me. The artwork on this is actual comic book covers from the different eras. It is comic book covers from the different eras, and I just love comic books. And so this one was a lot of fun. I am really glad that I picked this one up and when it came available. And that is Comic Hunters, and that was now it's you.
Now it's me. And my next recommendation from 2020 is New York Zoo by
Feuerland Spiel.
Yep, by them. And
I was waiting for that. I'm like, oh, she is not going to get that one.
In New York Zoo, you are constructing a zoo. And
where is that zoo being constructed?
In New York.
Oh, in New York, okay.
Yes, hence the name New York Zoo. Yes.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say Miami, but I was a little confused on that. But this is New York Zoo, and again, you are constructing a zoo and building animal enclosures while you are introducing new animals and getting them into couples so that they fall in love and have babies.
Oh, it's that kind of game. Oh.
It's that kind of game, but you don't see any action or anything. You just put them in your enclosure. So the game is pretty easy to play, and there's strategy to it as well. So basically, you have two turn options. You can either build a new enclosure by placing the tile into your zoo area, or gain new animals to populate your enclosures. Just be sure to time your actions correctly, since you want your zoo to participate in as many animal lovins as you can.
And
So
you move a little, that
I was
elephant
just
there,
yeah.
you move around.
So everybody plays on the same board. You have a little elephant that you can move three places,
Yeah,
isn't
up
it?
to
You
three
can move it up to
places.
three places. So when you stop on a spot, you can either get an animal, you can breed that animal, or you can stop on a tile piece and add the tile piece into your enclosure, which makes your enclosure larger so you can add more animals. Once you get a certain number of animals in an enclosure, they make babies. And then, yeah, I
Yeah,
like.
so when you don't have to stop on the ones to breed, if you go past a
That's
spot
right.
where an animal breeds and you have two or more of them in the same little area, then they will breed. So the timing of where things go is key in this one. And when you fill one of your little polyominoes pieces, you get some extra pieces that are like attractions in your zoo. Um, and yeah, this one's a lot of fun.
I like it.
First person to fill their mat wins. There's no
Mm-hmm.
scoring. It's whoever fills their mat first, which can get really tricky near the end if you've given yourself some weird spots and you're like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
really need to start breeding some of these things. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a fun one. That's a good one.
Just close your eyes. Don't have to watch.
My next one comes to us from one of my favorite companies for mainly for solo, although Stacey has started playing some of these lately as well. And this is Food Chain Island from Button Shy
Mm.
Games. In Food Chain Island, you have this 4x4 grid of numbers, and this is kind of based on the old saying 7, 8, 9. So each one of these animals is a different number, and each one you can do certain things with. But bigger numbers can only eat smaller numbers. Smaller numbers can't eat bigger numbers. And so whatever number is on top is considered the bigger number. So you're trying to get all of the animals to eat the smaller numbered animals. And it can get pretty tricky because they can only move certain ways. So some of them can only move up one or down one or left or right or whatever. Some of them can move like three spaces. And once one number is above another one, that stack now moves together. So then that stack is now that higher number. This is a really fun one. You also have the whale and the shark, which give you some extra abilities. I only have the base game. I think there's a lot of little mini expansions for this, as with most Button Shy games. This is just a really fun light one. It's a really nice puzzle to try and figure out, like, okay, what does this animal do? Where can I move it? I need to make sure it's next to this. And as your little island starts getting smaller and smaller, and there's like little sections, like, okay, I really need to get these animals up here, down over here before it's too late, because if I can't get them next to each other, then I can no longer get down to one card. The goal is to get down to one card. You have one stack of cards, and you have that biggest number card on top. I've done it once, I think. I think I've gotten one stack one time. But I've usually end up with just a couple stacks, so that's usually still a pretty good score on it. Just a really fun one. That is Food Chain Island. And my next one also comes to us from Button Shy Game, coincidentally here. And this one is Skulls of Sedlick. So in Skulls of Sedlick, I've only played this one solo, so this has the monstrous expansion. So in Skulls of Sedlick, basically you are making different configurations of these different skulls, which represent different types of people. You have nobility, and you have clerics, and you have all sorts of different ones. They all score a little differently. Some of them want to be next to certain ones. Some of them don't want to be next to certain ones. Some of them have to be they only score if they're the only one in the row, or whatever, once you place them. When you place the cards, they do need to be touching another card. In the solo version, you have this expansion, so you have these cards in the middle, and what you do is one of your configurations has to be from the base game, which is the one on the right, and then the one on the left is this card that's telling you this is how you're going to do your other configuration. And I haven't played it for a while, but I think that other card gives you some other requirement that you need to do. This one's a lot of fun, just trying to figure out where, as you flip cards over. So in the solo game, you have 4 piles of cards, and you're flipping like 2 of them over to start, and you can place one in, and then on your turn, you're flipping 2 more over, and you're trying to figure out which ones to place where, and just like, okay, I need these next to this, and I want to make sure that this isn't next to that because it's not going to score at all. So yeah, that is Skulls of Sud, like from Button Shy Games, and that one's a good one. I really like that one. That was both of mine. I did two quick button.
Quick.
Well, they were both button shies. Button shies are pretty quick to talk about.
Okay, so the next game that I'm recommending is one that I recently learned, and that is Project L.
And I don't have the.
And I don't know who made it.
Because I was going to look at our box and I forgot. Because there was a whole list of things. I'm like, I don't know which one we have. So
Project L by some people who made it. And in Project L, this is a tile matching game, and you have these cool little 3D acrylic / polynomial pieces. And then you have these double layered boards that you place those pieces onto. In this game, you are using your pieces to complete puzzles that you have drawn that you put in front of you. And starting with just 2 basic pieces, you get the one in the yellow cup and one from the green cup to start. So you have one little tiny square and then a double piece that you get to start with. And as you start filling in your double layered cards, you earn pieces that you get to put into your building supply, is what I'll call it. And as you complete those pieces, you put them into your hand. And then when the last black card that you see up there is drawn, so you have a line of the top ones are the white cards, and those ones are the easier ones where you may only get 1 point, but you start earning pieces that way that you may need. And then the black cards that you turn over can be worth up to 5 points, I think, or is it 7? I think I saw some
6.
7.
I think there was a 6. I think there was a 6.
6 points that you can get for those. So when you fill those in with the pieces that you have in your stack, you take that into yours, and then at the end of the game, when all of the black pieces are over, the game ends. And you count, well, then you get to fill in any cards that you have that you can finish, and then whatever pieces you put into that are going to be negative points from your score. But then you take all of the cards that you have in your hand, you add them up, and whoever has the highest score wins. I like that game.
It's a lot of fun. It's just a different way to do polynomials, because usually most tile laying games, you're placing them in some sort of grid or creating something. This one, you're just doing them on individual dual layer cards.
And when you finish that dual layer card, those pieces go back into your hand. So it's not like you're losing those or they're going away. You get those back. And then you can use a multi-purpose times. So if you finish a card, then you get those ones back, but then you can use those pieces to finish another card in your hand if you
still have action.
Yeah, if you still have action points. You have 3 action points that you can, or is it 4? 3 action points that you can use per turn. So if you still have your action points to fill in your next one, you can keep going. So,
and then you can also upgrade your tiles,
pieces.
Upgrade that's one of your actions. So which is kind of fun, because you're like, oh, I do need this. So okay, my action, I'm going to take this tier 2 and I'm going to make it a tier 3. Or in the tier 3 and 4, you can change it for a different shape of that same tier. So that is, and then you could also downgrade. Like, I really need a single one. I don't have any. I'm going to need it. So you can downgrade them. So I like that. It's a really fun game. It makes you think. But it's just done so differently, because you are doing so many different individual puzzles, and it's like, okay, do I go for a bunch of the small scoring ones because I can get a bunch of tiles? I can get a bunch of them all at once. Did you talk about the master action?
No, I didn't talk about the master action.
So go ahead. Sorry, I didn't think you were going to say go.
No.
Okay, so well, it's your game, so you talk.
I know. So then you can have the master action. So you have to proclaim, I am using the master action. And you get to put one piece on each of your cards that you have. And then you still get to use your 3 turns.
2 turns. You get two more turns. That's one of your actions. Yeah.
So that then you get to use your 2 turns. So the master action comes in quite handy and helps get through the game a little bit quicker. When I first saw the stack of tiles that you have to go through, I was like, oh my gosh, this game's going to take forever. But it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that is Project L.
That master action can come in really handy. If you got 4 cards in front of you, like, okay, I'm going to take a like your first action is like, I'm taking a master action because I'm going to put something on each. And you can do that every round. Like your next turn, you can do it once per turn. But when your turn comes around, like I'm doing a master action, and all of a sudden you're placing 4 tiles instead of 1. Yeah, that one is a lot of fun. This list is full of tile games. My next one is a tile game as well.
2020 was popular for tile
I guess so. At least for the games that we own. My next one is a double hex tile game. And this is Honey Buzz by Elf Creek Games. In Honey Buzz, it's a worker placement and tile laying game where you are making honey. What you're doing is you're placing your worker bees up on the top board there in one of 6 different spots. The unique thing about this one is when you place a worker, if somebody else wants to go there, they now have to place 2 workers. And if somebody else wants to go there, they need to place 3 workers. Now, I played this one solo. I do want to introduce it to Stacey at some point. But so I'm playing against the AI, and when you play against the AI, you can't go to where they are, I don't think. I haven't had it to the table for a little while. And then what you're doing is you're getting these different polyominoes, and you are making your honeycomb. And when you make your honeycomb, you are trying to make different shapes and different configurations because the end spaces are either red or whitish. And so each one of those you can get a different type of honey on. And so when you make them, one of your actions that you can do when you complete a open circle is to get you're going to do all of the actions that are on the tiles. So maybe you are selling your orders. You're making orders. Maybe you're making honey. You might be foraging in the flowers and the trees to get yourself the little tiles that go into the holes so that you can make the nectar, so that you can sell it and you can fulfill your orders. This game is just really, really fun. I really like it. And we have a special guest here. Sika has joined us now. Say hi, Sika. Yeah. So Sika has joined us. He was being attention deprived, so he has decided to join us. So I really like Honey Buzz. I think it is just a really interesting game, and the way that once you fill your honey hexes and you get a honey hex, then you are doing all the actions. So trying to make sure you have a lot of actions so you can do a lot of different things is really fun. So that is Honey Buzz. And my final game, which is also my highest rated game, it's actually in the top 30 when I looked, and it is by far the highest ranked game we own from 2020. And this is Lost Ruins of Arnak by CGE. Lost Ruins of Arnak is a worker placement, resource management, deck building. Oh my god, my brain just usually Stacy's brain at this time goes, and my brain. Why can I not think of deck building, like summer camp has.
Oh yeah.
So you're building your deck of cards. You only have 2 workers, and you're placing them in one of the spots to gain some resources. Or if you spend some resources, you can go up a little higher, but you have to also avoid the dangers. You're trying to get some assistance over on the top of the board, the right side of the board. You're getting artifacts and tools to help you out to build your deck. And then you're working up this research tablet area over on the right side of the actual board to get some different things and hopefully get to the top of it to get some extra bonuses and things. You're trying to collect as much as you can and get as many points as you can. yeah, so you're scoring on your artifacts, you're scoring on your tools, you're scoring on the little things you collect as you are moving higher up in the exploration area. But yeah, so Lost Ruins of Arnak, like I said, it's been a very long week and my brain just kind of shut down on me there. But Lost Ruins of Arnak is my final game for 2020, and it is a really good one. I do play it only solo, so that is my final game.
And my final game of the evening is Zen Garden by Queen Games. And in Zen Garden, you are oh geesh. Oh,
Okay, over to me.
You, in Zen Garden, you are a um there goes my brain. Excellent, excellent. You are working to build gardens for the emperor, and you are trying to appease the emperor by building what he wants and by completing the we'll call them puzzles. By completing the puzzle in each zone that he has, you start with two pieces and you use three actions every turn to get more sizes of or more pieces to finish your board. With the more pieces and the various types of garden, you've got the rock, you've got the sand, you've got the stone. Um, what else is there? You've got the garden area.
So you have your different floors, your different paths, and your different decor in the corners.
There you go, decor. That's the word. So you are trying to get the pieces off of the. I call it a waterfall motion on there. So you take one of the two bottom ones. Those ones are, or the one on the bottom row is free that you can take. The one in the middle is a point, and the one at the top is worth. You have to pay three. And when you or two, I'm so sorry. And so when you take those pieces, all the pieces above it come down. So at the end of each turn, that row gets wiped out and all of them move down, which gives you an opportunity to get the pieces that you need for free or for lesser charge. And then when you do buy a tile, your little piece goes to the left, goes negative, and then when you at the end you score up all of your points on how you appeased the emperor. And the emperor usually has four or five preferences to determine which features of the garden score in that game. And the board selected will change depending on the objective of what each player is trying to do. So as you can see on the top, he's got 4 pieces going across there that he is wanting you to get. So you're trying to draw those pieces to place those into your garden. And then for the advanced mode, it goes up. You have different levels that you can earn to put into your garden. And once your garden is full, then you count up how many points you appease the emperor with, and the person with the highest points wins.
Yeah, so there's some different like majority bonus, minority bonus. So whoever has the most of something, whoever has the least something, and then some of them score based on how many you have, and then the paths and the floors also score based on what you have in the decor. Score on what you have. So yeah, this is a really fun one, and it does have several levels, so you can add up to 5 levels to the top of the um. He's being silly. To give yourself some extra scoring. We've gone to 3. 4 and 5 give you also some objectives, which for that game, I don't think we would probably ever add those because it adds too much complexity for a game that is pretty kind of. No, you can't go up there. You can't crawl onto our game mat. You can't crawl onto our game mat. Okay. But yeah, so that's a fun one. That is Zen Garden. We did play that one live on the channel quite a while ago. So there's a live stream of that one as well.
Ago.
I think like December.
Oh.
Or January. So it was several months ago. Yep. So there's a live stream of that one on the channel. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. There is our 5 and dime for 2020 game recommendations. Let us drop us a note in the comments. What are some of your favorite games from 2020? Maybe give us some suggestions of things you think we might like from 2020 based on our list here. We will be back live on Well, I will be back live on Sunday with a solo playthrough. I think I'll be playing Stone Spine Architects from Thunderworks Games. I've kind of been working through my Thunderworks collection there on that solo Sunday. And we'll be back live next Wednesday with our next live stream Wednesday night with the Willses. And we are playing, what did we decide? Oh, Creature Comforts. Because we realized that is like, we played Maple Valley a couple weeks ago, and we're like, you know what? We have not covered Creature Comforts. And so we are going to do that so we can then do our rank the collection for our KTPG games. So there you have it, guys. There's our 2020 recommendations. Once again, this has been Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian.
I'm Stacey and Sika.
He's Sika. And we'll see you next time
at the table.